As 2024 comes to a close, I wanted to kind of reflect on 6 key lessons that I feel like I've learned over this past year. And I think that art and business are always an ongoing journey, but here are just some things I learned as a part-time artist slash creative entrepreneur. The first lesson is that solopreneurship is all about meeting yourself where you're at. Aside from working with a few freelancers here and there, I am mainly a team of one, and of course with my supportive partner, Moo. Early this year, I had graduated, I traveled to visit family, and I also had my car that I used for pop-ups catalytic converter stolen, which meant that for a bit of time I was not doing pop-up events. I beat myself up for this for a while, and I felt like I was missing out on my creative or business growth. But I soon realized that it was really important for me to kind of go with the ebbs and flows of life's seasons and just accept whatever it had to offer. Whether you're a small team or a solo business, it's really important to meet yourself where you're at. I felt like during these atypical, uncertain months, I did my best to embrace these moments and work on my email marketing, to work on developing 4 new products, to work on improving my website experience, and start developing some blog post catalog. And without this time, I didn't really have the bandwidth or the mental space or energy to even work on these parts of my business. So I think it was really important for me to experience that, and hindsight is 2020, and it was clear as day after the fact. The second main lesson that I've learned is that it's important to have a synergy between project-based and habit-based kind of efforts. I honestly used to focus a lot of my time on creating discipline, consistent habits, especially based on, atomic habits and things like that. And this kind of manifested as things like email marketing, social media, blog content, email outreach, pop-ups, and it does a lot to maintain, and I wasn't always consistent. Although this is really critical for your business and to be persistent over long periods of time, I didn't really feel like I was making significant or meaningful progress that felt really like I had a lot of agency, essentially. I was just waiting for something to kind of result from that, which is outside of my control. And I think that that is the part of discipline and the part of kind of trusting the process, but I wasn't improving on the actual value I was providing as an artist or as a business. So then I tried project-based work instead. In addition to kind of these existing consistent inputs that I was putting into my business, I tried using a blank whiteboard system on Canva to help me kind of problem solve 3 to 5 key projects or questions that I wanted to solve in my business. I felt a lot less pressure after this to show up every single day consistently with the same energy, and instead worked towards my goals in a timeline that really made sense to me. After each of these projects were finished, I felt a huge wave of relief and accomplishment because there was so much more direction and specificity and actual result and scope in terms of the start to finish of what I was really working on. Before this point, I felt like all my projects were kind of scattered into different tactics and ideas of recommendations of people who are a few steps ahead of me. For example, do this to your website and it'll totally help. Build this part of your email marketing list and it'll totally help. Optimize this section of your website to convert better. And I think there's so many things that I could have done, but I think it was essential for me to kind of cut out what wasn't important so I could see progress on what really mattered. The third thing that really changed my mind this year was to follow wherever inspiration took me. I first heard this from a friend who shared with me a lovely video about how following wonder and curiosity was really important in the creative process. And I think as a very disciplined person, I really initially tried to kind of structure the way that I created, and I found that as much as these systems helped me to kind of create and share specific formats with my audience, I started to find myself dreading the creation process, and I made pieces that I didn't feel inspired or proud of. And so I changed my perspective and instead just tried to have fun and just feel inspired in whatever I'm creating. I tend to bounce between different mediums like digital illustration, in-person life drawing with watercolors. I do photography, videography concepts. I've been recently getting into animation, and even just documenting meaningful parts of my life through Instagram stories or YouTube channel here with vlogs. To me, the most important thing was for me to creatively express myself and to live my truth, to be my most genuine and authentic self unapologetically. The fourth big lesson I feel like I learned was that creative entrepreneurship is about craft and business. It's these two components combined. This is a truth that I still continuously learn and relearn every year, but every creative entrepreneur must learn this rhythm between building skills along the craft and the skills along the business side of whatever niche they're in. I realize that you can't have one without the other. Just because you're passionate about your art without understanding how to monetize and scale your skill will leave you disappointed and end up leaving you with a hobby instead of a business. And on the flip side, pursuing the business component for money solely can also be a huge loss on not understanding what the community genuinely enjoys and what they're really about. I personally love using platforms like Skillshare or YouTube to learn these various skills, and I would really recommend them as well to better your skills on topics like marketing, search engine optimization, website UX, UI, learning art principles like composition, line weight, color theory, value studies, all these various things that can really help improve both your craft and your business. The fifth perspective shift is that travel is deeply healing and perspective shifting. Whether it's a small road trip just outside of your city or to another country completely, I used to feel really guilty for traveling and extreme FOMO of not engaging with my direct local community. I'm not doing pop-ups, I'm not increasing my networking, and I'm really away from the noise. However, I think this has become a beautiful discovery of the importance of healing and absorbing new environments. This past year, for example, I had the amazing opportunity to visit Melbourne for the first time, to see my family there, and I was really inspired to understand how sustainability and physical spaces were kind of intertwined to uplift communities and bring people together. It really inspired me in the lens of sustainability and interior design and just overall design principles in a physical space. It was really healing and beautiful. And honestly, I think it really changed the trajectory of how I aspire to pursue my creative career in the future. And the sixth lesson I feel like I learned is to think about things as how I rather than how to. I actually learned this from a video from Alex Formosi, who has a lot of really bold and incredibly useful marketing advice on YouTube. And he was explaining how we should think of how we explain concepts in our content as how I rather than how to avoid feeling that sense of imposter syndrome and not feeling like we have to be this crazy guru that knows everything. We will honestly never feel mastery in any subject, but if you can at least share your journey, then that is always uniquely yours, or at least that's how I've been seeing it as well. Shifting this perspective really allowed me to just kind of create more authentically and feel a lot less pressure to know it all and just share what I already have learned and introspected on. I've done the work, it's just time to show it. So I think visual art is always a beautiful extension of how you see the world translated to how other people will perceive it, and they translate that into their own experiences, kind of like how I'm making this and you're watching this now. It's a conscious choice to experience and be a part of the arts, and it has been an incredible impact on my personal life and introspective journey these past 4 years, and I'm incredibly thankful to have embarked on this journey and met everyone that I've had. I think community is absolutely pivotal in each of these lessons, and going on the personal healing journey and introspective journey is very parallel to how you create as well. So those are kind of the 6 things that I wanted to share that I've learned. Wanted to kind of just talk casually with some B-roll playing behind here. But I wanted to ask, what did you learn this year? What are some takeaways that you had in your personal life, your creative journey, your business journey? Or what are some things that you want to do for 2025? I hope to make a goal video as I make a vision board every year personally, but thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.